The Eagles and the Niners rivalry is heating up again this Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field, and the buzz is absolutely real. There's something electric about watching these two teams clash, a combination of history, talent, and sheer intensity that makes every matchup feel monumental. Inside the Eagles camp, the energy is palpable. Fans are buzzing, players are locked in, and the narrative around this team is building like a storm. This is the kind of game where small details matter, and every player's return or absence can tilt the scales dramatically. Lane Johnson's return to practice is arguably the biggest storyline leading into this matchup. It's been weeks since he last stepped on the field, and the wait has been long and tense. The last time fans saw him in action was back in Week 11 against Detroit, after an injury suffered against Green Bay. There are moments of hope, moments of doubt, and a lot of speculation along the way. The discussions around his availability have been constant, but it looks like the Eagles might finally get their star right tackle back in the lineup. Johnson is a player who doesn't just fill a position, he defines it. His impact on the offensive line is unmatched, and the Eagles have felt his absence every step of the way. His numbers speak for themselves. Before his injury, Lane Johnson was performing at a Pro Bowl level, dominating in pass protection, allowing 0 sacks and only 7 pressures, ranking among the top offensive tackles in the league. His presence is the difference between an offense that struggles to find rhythm and one that can execute at the highest level. Philadelphia's record when he's on the field tells the story, winning nearly 70% of their games with him versus a losing record without him. It's not just stats, it's the way the team operates, the confidence it brings to the quarterback, the running game, and the line's cohesion. The road back hasn't been easy, and seeing Johnson push through injury while maintaining focus is a testament to his dedication and preparation. Coaches and teammates alike recognize his influence. Even when Fred Johnson filled in, the team had to adjust, and while they found some success, the difference with Lane on the right side is clear and undeniable. This isn't just about talent. It's about leadership, consistency, and the ability to control the line of scrimmage. He's a cornerstone of the Eagles' offense, and his return gives them a huge advantage as they face a Niners defense that has struggled this season. Speaking of the Niners defense, the absence of key players has opened opportunities. Without Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, their pass rush has dipped to the bottom of the league in both sacks and pressure rate. Players like Josh Uche, who have been healthy scratches for much of the season, are being asked to step up, but the cohesion and dominance of the unit simply isn't what it once was. The Eagles' offensive line, with Lane back, will have the chance to exploit these gaps, especially against a defense that has been inconsistent and susceptible in the red zone and in high-pressure situations. On the defensive side, the Eagles are stacking the deck in their favor as well. Jalen Carter has returned to practice, adding a disruptive presence on the line that could wreak havoc against the Niners' offensive front. His ability to pressure the quarterback, stop the run, and force opponents into difficult situations gives Philadelphia a clear edge in the trenches. When you pair that with players like Nolan Smith and Jigs Hunt, who have been generating high pressure rates from the edge, the Eagles' front seven looks poised to dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. The matchups here are fascinating. On one side, you have Kyle Shanahan, known for his brilliant offensive mind, going up against Vic Fangio, one of the most respected defensive minds in the history of football. Past matchups have leaned toward Fangio's advantage, and this is not lost on anyone studying the X's and O's. The Niners' offensive line, particularly inside, has been a weakness, and players like Carter could capitalize on that all game long. Limited by injuries and rotations, San Francisco's front could struggle against the physicality and speed that the Eagles bring, especially if Philadelphia can dictate the pace and force Shanahan into uncomfortable situations. The Eagles' linebacker core adds another layer of intrigue. Kobe Dean has been active in practice, and his combination of instincts against the run, coverage ability, and blitzer potential makes him a key factor in slowing down Christian McCaffrey, one of the most dynamic offensive players in the league. Containing McCaffrey is always a challenge, and Dean's presence, alongside Cooper Dean and the rest of the linebackers, will be critical in limiting the big plays that could swing momentum in San Francisco's favor. Adding to that, Jalen Phillips' return has solidified the Eagles' pass rush even further. Since joining Philadelphia, Phillips has made an immediate impact, pressuring quarterbacks, creating turnovers, and providing a level of disruption that has coincided with the team's defensive resurgence. The Eagles' defensive turnaround this season owes a lot to his addition, and having him available for the wild-card matchup adds another weapon for Vic Fangio to deploy strategically against a Niners offense that is struggling to stay healthy and consistent. Meanwhile, the Niners are dealing with significant injuries of their own. Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles in football history, is battling a hamstring injury, and his absence would be monumental. Without him, the entire left side of San Francisco's offensive line is vulnerable, affecting both the run game and pass protection. Ricky Pears, their primary vertical threat at wide receiver, is also dealing with knee and ankle issues, limiting his ability to stretch the field. Combined with other injuries along the offensive line and at linebacker, San Francisco faces a challenging puzzle to piece together a cohesive game plan against a fully motivated and healthy Eagles squad. When Austin Pleasance was forced to fill in for Trent Williams recently, the results were a stark illustration of just how critical Williams is. The offensive line struggles against a top-tier defense, exposed vulnerabilities across the board, disrupting the run scheme, compromising pass protection, and leaving Brock Purdy exposed. For Shanahan, this is a strategic nightmare. The Eagles have a chance to exploit every mismatch and force the Niners into uncomfortable adjustments, playing to Philadelphia's strengths in the trenches, both offensively and defensively. Philadelphia's defensive edge, combined with Lane Johnson's return on offense, sets the stage for a high-intensity showdown. Every player stepping onto the field matters, and the Eagles are aligning their personnel in a way that maximizes their strengths while targeting the Niners' weaknesses. The balance of power seems to be tipping toward the home team, but in a rivalry of this magnitude, every snap counts, and preparation, execution, and timing will define the winner. The storylines keep building as the game approaches. Eagles fans have reasons to be optimistic, seeing the returns of key players and the potential mismatches against a depleted Niners roster. Yet there's still work to be done on the field, adjustments to be made, and moments where individual brilliance can change everything. The narrative isn't just about returning stars. It's about how the team executes under pressure, how coaches adapt to situations in real time, and how players step up when it matters most. This is what makes rivalry games like this so thrilling and why fans stay glued to every moment. As the Eagles prepare for Sunday's clash, attention turns to San Francisco's secondary and how Philadelphia might attack it. With injuries piling up, the Niners' pass coverage is stretched thin. Wide receiver Ricky Pears is limited, and his ability to create separation vertically is compromised, leaving Kyle Shanahan with fewer options to stretch the field. The Eagles, on the other hand, have been sharpening their passing attack around Jalen Hurts, who has shown tremendous growth this season in reading defenses and delivering under pressure. With Lane Johnson returning to the right tackle spot, Hurts can operate with the confidence that the blind side and right edge are secure, giving him more time to dissect a weakened secondary. The Eagles' offensive game plan will likely focus on creating mismatches at the line of scrimmage. With Jalen Carter back in the lineup, the pressure he generates can force the Niners' offensive line into uncomfortable situations, potentially collapsing the pocket and disrupting Shanahan's timing. Philadelphia's line has been disciplined and methodical in their blocking schemes, and having Lane Johnson back restores a level of stability that has been missing for weeks. The synergy between the offensive line and Hurts is critical, especially against a defensive front that has struggled to generate consistent pressure without key players like Bosa and Warner. Running the football remains a central part of the Eagles' strategy. With the Niners' linebackers dealing with injuries and rotational issues, the edge is there for Philadelphia to exploit. Miles Sanders, or whichever back gets the call, will look to attack the gaps created by Johnson and the line, forcing San Francisco to commit defenders to the run and opening up opportunities downfield. The Niners have had success against teams that rely heavily on quick passes, but the Eagles' balanced attack, particularly with a revitalized offensive line, constrain their coverage schemes and exploit misalignments that result from trying to defend both the pass and the run simultaneously. Philadelphia's defensive matchups are just as compelling. The Eagles' front seven has shown a capacity for disruption that has been unmatched since midseason. Nolan Smith and Jix Hunt continue to create pressure from the edge, while Jalen Carter dominates inside, collapsing the pocket and controlling gaps. The combination of speed, power, and technique allows the Eagles to dictate the line of scrimmage, forcing Shanahan to adapt. If the Eagles can consistently penetrate the backfield, it limits the effectiveness of Christian McCaffrey and forces the Niners into third-and-long situations, where mistakes become far more likely. Kobe Dean's presence adds another layer to this defensive dominance. Known for his ability to read plays before they develop, Dean is equally effective against the run and as a blitzer. In a game where controlling McCaffrey is critical, Dean can fill gaps and maintain leverage, while also providing coverage responsibilities when needed. Cooper Dean's matchups against George Kittle and Brock Purdy will be equally critical, as limiting big plays in the passing game can prevent San Francisco from swinging momentum back in their favor. This combination of pressure, discipline, and situational awareness gives the Eagles a tangible advantage across the board. The Eagles have also benefited from strategic in-season acquisitions, and Jalen Phillips is a perfect example. Since joining the team, Phillips has consistently disrupted opposing offenses, racking up pressures, quarterback hits, and creating turnovers at critical moments. His return to practice and availability for Sunday's game cements Philadelphia's defensive edge. His ability to collapse the pocket and force hurried throws could change the rhythm of the game and make the Niners' passing game predictable, allowing the secondary to capitalize on mistakes. This kind of impact player can single-handedly swing momentum, and his presence elevates the entire defensive unit. San Francisco's offensive struggles are compounded by the absence of Trent Williams, whose elite skill set at left tackle is integral to both pass protection and run blocking. Without him, the offensive line is vulnerable to the Eagles' front, and any hesitation or missed assignment could result in negative plays. Austin Pleasance, while serviceable in limited scenarios, does not replicate Williams' consistency or dominance. The domino effect of his absence affects Brock Purdy's timing, McCaffrey's lanes, and the entire offensive rhythm. Shanahan will need to adjust on the fly, but the Eagles have the personnel and preparation to exploit any weakness. On special teams, depth and versatility become critical. Injuries on both sides impact field position, return options, and situational play calling. The Eagles' coaching staff has consistently found ways to maximize roster flexibility, and with key contributors returning from injury, Philadelphia can leverage its depth to control not just the line of scrimmage, but the overall flow of the game. Maintaining consistency in this phase is often overlooked, but in a tight playoff matchup, every yard and every snap counts. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL rumor mill was set ablaze by whispers that few expected to hear again. Michael Pierce, long believed to have quietly closed the book on his playing career, is suddenly at the center of intense speculation linking him to the Philadelphia Eagles. Sources close to the situation suggest that the veteran defensive tackle has reconsidered retirement and is seriously weighing a return that would place him in midnight green. Around the league, executives and scouts are said to be surprised but intrigued. Pierce's name still carries weight in defensive circles, associated with raw power, interior disruption, and a physical presence that can alter offensive game plans. The idea that such a profile could reemerge at this stage has fueled debate about motivation, timing, and fit. For the Eagles, a franchise known for investing heavily in the trenches, the potential move feels almost too logical, which only adds fuel to the rumor. Those familiar with Pierce's mindset describe a player who never truly lost the competitive fire, only stepping away to reassess his priorities. Now, with Philadelphia rumored to be offering a clear role rather than a symbolic contract, the comeback narrative gains traction. Insiders claim conversations have focused less on nostalgia and more on immediate impact, rotational depth, and leadership in a locker room built to contend. Skeptics question whether Pierce can return to peak form after time away, but supporters argue that his playing style relies more on leverage and strength and speed, traits that tend to age better. In Philadelphia, where defensive line rotation is almost a philosophy, even a measured contribution could be valuable. For now, nothing is official, and both sides remain silent. Still, the mere possibility of Michael Pierce abandoning retirement to join the Eagles has captured attention across the league, standing as one of those rare rumors that feels bold enough to be true. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.